Hey everyone, ever feel like your perfectly crafted resume is just getting lost in a sea of applications? You spend hours on it, agonizing over every word, and then, crickets.
It's the worst feeling, right? Like tossing a message in a bottle out to sea and hoping for the best. But what if you could somehow reverse that? Make opportunity come to you.
That's exactly what caught my eye with RoleCatcher. They're doing things way beyond the typical job board. Think career guides, interview practice tools, even AI that analyzes your every move. Okay, maybe not every move, but close.
What's fascinating about RoleCatcher is this. It's not just throwing tech at the problem. They've got this massive library of career guides, employer profiles, interview questions. It's like having a whole team of career coaches analyzing your every move, but without the awkward team building exercises.
Right, so it's not just about automating the boring stuff. And get this, they even break down specific roles. I was checking out Domestic Housekeeper, and honestly, I had no idea that career path could be so nuanced.
It really underscores how specialized every job is becoming, even ones we might not think about too much. RoleCatcher breaks down the essential skills. Did you know that customer and personal service is huge for being a housekeeper?
That makes total sense. You're interacting with people constantly, not just folding laundry in an empty mansion.
Precisely. And speaking of skills, let's talk about CVs. RoleCatcher claims generic ones are basically done for. Algorithms are brutal, apparently.
So what does that mean for someone using RoleCatcher? Are we talking a different CV for every single application? Because that sounds exhausting.
That's where their CV resume builder comes in. Imagine having a tool that tells you exactly which parts of your experience to highlight for each job. That's the power RoleCatcher gives you by analyzing your CV and the job description. Upload different versions, and their AI figures out which one is strongest for each role.
Okay, that's seriously cool. No more second guessing if you're emphasizing the right things. And what about interviews? That's where I always get nervous. It's like the ultimate performance pressure.
You and everyone else, trust me. But RoleCatcher has a massive library of interview questions. And not just generic ones, either they're tailored to specific roles, even different levels within those roles. So if you're going for, say, a senior housekeeper position versus a head housekeeper, you'll be practicing with questions relevant to those specific responsibilities.
Wow, that's seriously impressive. It's like having a cheat sheet for your career, but totally legit.
And it gets even better. Remember how we talked about algorithms driving hiring? Well, RoleCatcher flips the script on that too. They have a feature where employers can actually search for candidates based on skills.
Wait, so while I'm busy applying the right opportunity, could find ME through RoleCatcher.
Exactly. Imagine this. You're working on your CV, really making that customer service section shine, and bam, a potential employer is already checking out your profile because your skills match what they're looking for.
Okay, now that IS is game changer, no more hoping your resume lands on the right desk. You're proactively putting your best self out there in a way that algorithms and, more importantly, employers can actually understand.
It's like the difference between throwing a message in a bottle and sending a targeted email. And RoleCatcher helps you craft that perfect email from your CV to your interview skills.
So it's not just about finding a not job. It's about finding the right job that truly matches your skills and what you want to do.
Exactly. And that brings us to one of RoleCatcher's coolest features, Copilot.
Copilot. Okay, now we're talking high tech. Tell me more.
Well, it's like having a personalized career strategist in your back pocket. Think AI-powered CV and cover letter tailoring, personalized interview practice with feedback, even suggestions for answering those tricky application questions.
Wait, so you're telling me this AI will watch my interview video and tell me if I'm fidgeting too much? That's both amazing and terrifying.
It's all about taking the guesswork out of interview prep. You record yourself answering common questions, and Copilot analyzes everything from your body language to the content of your answers. It's like having a personal coach, but you don't have to pay for their gym membership.
All right, I have to admit that's pretty cool. It's one thing to know what you should be doing in an interview, but to have an AI actually tell you how you're coming across, that's next level feedback.
Exactly. It eliminates that "did I do okay?" doubt that lingers after every interview.
And it's not just about pointing out your flaws, right? Does it also highlight your strengths?
Absolutely. It identifies what you're doing well so you can walk into your next interview feeling confident and prepared.
Okay, that is huge. Confidence can make or break an interview, and knowing you have Copilot in your corner would definitely boost my self-assurance, that's for sure.
Exactly. It's about using technology to your advantage to not only identify areas for improvement, but also to celebrate your strengths and use them to shine.
A Copilot is like a confidence coach and a career strategist all rolled into one, minus the motivational posters and protein shake endorsements.
Pretty much. And it's clear that they've put a lot of thought into making Copilot as user-friendly and effective as possible.
It sounds like it. Now let's dive back into some specifics about how RoleCatcher can help you land that dream job, even if it's something you might not expect, like being a domestic housekeeper.
Great idea. Let's explore how RoleCatcher's tools and resources can help someone navigate the path to becoming a domestic housekeeper.
Perfect. Because let's face it, not every career path comes with a clear roadmap. So how does RoleCatcher provide that guidance for aspiring domestic housekeepers?
Well, for starters, they offer a wealth of information on different career paths, including domestic housekeeping. Their career guides provide detailed overviews of different professions, including job duties, required skills, potential salary ranges, and typical career paths.
So it's like having a one-stop shop for all your career research needs. You can explore different options and get a feel for what each role entails before diving into the application process.
Exactly. And their guides aren't just dry, boring descriptions. They use real-world examples and highlight the unique aspects of each career path. For example, in their Domestic Housekeeper guide, they might showcase the career trajectory of someone who started as a part-time cleaner and worked their way up to managing a team of housekeepers for a large estate.
That's a much more engaging and relatable way to learn about a career than just reading a list of job duties. It helps you envision yourself in that role and see the potential for growth and advancement.
Absolutely. And they don't just focus on the glamorous aspects of each career. They're also upfront about the challenges and realities of each role, so you can make informed decisions about your career path.
That's so important. It's all about finding a career that aligns with your skills, interests, and values, and that includes being realistic about the ups and downs of each profession.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher provides the resources and guidance to help you make those informed decisions.
I'm curious, what are some of the key takeaways that RoleCatcher highlights for aspiring domestic housekeepers? What advice do they offer for those looking to break into this field?
Well, one of the most important things they emphasize is the importance of soft skills. Remember how we talked about customer and personal service being crucial for housekeepers? RoleCatcher provides guidance on how to highlight those skills in your CV and cover letter.
That makes sense. You're not just cleaning, you're creating a positive and welcoming environment for the people who live there.
Exactly. And those soft skills, like communication, organization, and attention to detail, are transferable to a wide range of other professions. So even if someone ultimately decides not to pursue a career as a domestic housekeeper, the skills they develop in that role can benefit them in countless other ways.
That's a great point. So even exploring a career path that might seem unconventional can lead to valuable skills and unexpected opportunities.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher helps you uncover those hidden connections and leverage your experiences to your advantage.
It's like they say, sometimes the skills you learn on one path can totally come in handy on a completely different one. So let's say someone's intrigued by the domestic housekeeper route, but they're thinking, okay, how do I actually get one of these jobs?
That's where RoleCatcher's Get Discovered feature comes into play. Think of it like this. You're not just waiting for someone to stumble upon your resume anymore. You're creating this in-depth profile that's basically a beacon for potential employers.
So while I'm busy perfecting my dusting 101 technique, someone could be out there looking for someone with my skills and experience on RoleCatcher.
Exactly. And it works both ways. You can actively search for jobs just like on a traditional job board, but you also have employers coming to you based on your skills and experience. It's like a two-way matchmaking service for careers.
No more hoping your resume makes it past the automated gatekeepers. I like it. But let's say I land an interview. What then? Are there any tools to help with the whole pre-interview jitters situation?
Definitely. Remember Copilot. It's not just for CVs and cover letters. It can also help you ace those interviews.
Right. We touched on the AI feedback earlier, but let's dive a little deeper. What makes Copilot's interview prep so unique?
It's all about personalized practice and data-driven feedback. Imagine this. You're prepping for an interview, and you're not sure if you're coming across as confident or just rambling. Copilot takes the guesswork out of it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does it actually work? Do I need to set up a whole camera rig in my living room?
It's way simpler than that. You just record yourself answering common interview questions, either using your phone or computer. Then you upload the video, and Copilot analyzes everything.
Everything? Like what kind of everything are we talking about?
It analyzes your body language.
Yeah.
Are you fidgeting? making eye contact. It analyzes your tone of voice. Are you speaking clearly and confidently? And of course, it analyzes the content of your answers. Are you addressing the questions directly, highlighting your skills and experience?
Whoa, that's seriously impressive. It's like having a personal interview coach scrutinizing your every move, but without the judgmental stares.
Exactly. And the best part is it provides personalized feedback and suggestions for improvement. It might tell you to slow down your speech, project your voice more, or provide specific examples to back up your claims.
It's like having a secret weapon for interview prep. But what about those curveball questions that interviewers love to throw? You know, the ones that completely throw you off your game.
RoleCatcher has you covered there too. Remember that massive library of interview questions we talked about? They've got questions for every role imaginable, including those curveball ones that are designed to test your problem-solving skills or see how you think on your feet.
So it's not just about memorizing answers, it's about understanding how to approach different types of questions and formulate thoughtful responses.
Exactly. And Copilot can even help you practice answering those tricky behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you failed, or describe a challenging situation and how you overcame it.
Okay, now that's just impressive. It's like having a crystal ball that predicts what interviewers are going to ask. But even with all this prep, the salary negotiation part always makes me nervous. Any tips from RoleCatcher on how to navigate that conversation?
This is where RoleCatcher's data-driven approach really shines. They understand that salary negotiation can be intimidating, so they provide you with the information and tools you need to confidently advocate for your worth.
Okay, tell me more about this. What kind of tools are we talking about?
For starters, they have a salary range calculator that takes into account your experience, location, industry, and the specific role you're applying for. This gives you a realistic idea of what you should be earning and helps you set your salary expectations accordingly.
That's incredibly helpful. No more going into negotiations blind or undervaluing your skills and experience.
Exactly. And they don't just throw numbers at you. They provide guidance on how to interpret those numbers and use them to your advantage during negotiations.
So it's like having a personal salary coach in your corner, helping you understand your market value and craft persuasive arguments.
Precisely. And they even provide sample scripts and negotiation tactics that you can adapt to your situation.
That's so helpful. It's like having a cheat sheet for one of the most important conversations in your career.
Exactly. And remember, even if you're not comfortable with negotiation, having that data and those resources at your fingertips can empower you to advocate for yourself and ensure you're being compensated fairly.
Absolutely. Because, let's be honest, talking about money can be awkward, but it's important to remember that your skills and experience are valuable and you deserve to be compensated accordingly.
Well said. And RoleCatcher helps you approach those conversations with confidence and clarity, ensuring that you're presenting your best self and advocating for your worth.
Speaking of presenting your best self, I want to circle back to the idea of personal branding. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but it can feel a bit vague and overwhelming, especially for those of us who aren't social media gurus. How does RoleCatcher help with personal branding?
They break it down into manageable steps, making it less about being internet famous and more about showcasing your unique skills and experiences in a way that resonates with potential employers.
Okay, I like that. Less about selfies, more about substance. So where do you even begin with building a personal brand?
It all starts with defining your value proposition. What are you passionate about? What sets you apart from other candidates? RoleCatcher provides guidance and exercises to help you identify your strengths and articulate your unique value proposition clearly and concisely.
So it's about figuring out what makes you you professionally and then communicating that effectively to the outside world.
Precisely. And once you've defined your brand, RoleCatcher provides tips and resources for building a strong online presence that reflects your brand identity.
Like what? Do I need to become a LinkedIn influencer overnight?
It's not about becoming an influencer. It's about being present and engaged in a way that aligns with your career goals. They provide guidance on optimizing your LinkedIn profile, creating a professional website or portfolio, and engaging with industry communities online.
So it's about strategically using online platforms to showcase your skills, connect with other professionals, and stay up to date on industry trends.
Exactly. It's about making those platforms work for you, rather than feeling like you need to be on every platform doing everything.
That's a relief. Now let's talk about something that's crucial for career success, but often gets pushed aside in the hustle of the job search mentorship. It's one of those things that everyone says is important, but it can be hard to know where to start. How does RoleCatcher approach mentorship?
They understand that having a mentor can make a world of difference in your career. providing guidance, support, and a sounding board for your ideas.
Absolutely. But finding a mentor feel a bit like trying to find a unicorn. Everyone talks about them, but no one seems to know where to find one.
That's where RoleCatcher comes in. They demystify the process of finding and cultivating mentoring relationships.
Okay, tell me more. How do they do that?
They offer a range of resources, including a mentorship guide that provides practical tips on identifying potential mentors, approaching them effectively, and building strong, mutually beneficial relationships.
So it's not just about sending out a bunch of awkward emails begging for advice.
Not at all. It's about building genuine connections and approaching mentorship as a two-way street.
I like that. It should be a mutually beneficial relationship, not just one person taking and the other giving. What else makes RoleCatcher's approach to mentorship unique?
They recognize that mentorship isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. They offer guidance on finding mentors within your organization, connecting with industry leaders through networking events, and even leveraging online platforms to find mentors with specific skills or expertise.
So it's about exploring different avenues and finding mentorship arrangements that align with your individual needs and goals.
Exactly. They also provide resources for those who are further along in their careers and want to give back by becoming mentors themselves.
I love that. It's about fostering a culture of support and guidance within the professional world. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked in the job search process: the importance of continuous learning. In today's rapidly changing job market, it's not enough to just have a degree or a few years of experience under your belt. You need to be constantly upgrading your skills and expanding your knowledge. How does RoleCatcher help with this?
They're huge advocates for continuous learning. They understand that the skills that are in demand today might be obsolete tomorrow, so they provide their users with the resources and motivation they need to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, I'm all for continuous learning, but it can be overwhelming trying to figure out what to learn and where to learn it. There are so many online courses, workshops, and certifications out there. How does RoleCatcher cut through the noise?
They've curated a massive library of online courses, workshops, and certification programs from reputable providers across a wide range of industries and skill sets.
So it's like having a personal learning advisor who can point you towards the most relevant and valuable learning opportunities.
Exactly. And they don't just list courses. They provide detailed information about each course, including the instructor, curriculum, format, duration, cost, and any prerequisites.
That's incredibly helpful. It takes the guesswork out of finding courses that align with your interests, career goals, and learning style.
Absolutely. And they don't just leave you to your own devices once you've enrolled in a course. They provide tips and strategies for effective self-study, time management, and staying motivated throughout your learning journey.
It's like having a personal cheer squad, encouraging you to keep learning and growing.
Precisely. And they recognize that learning isn't just about acquiring new skills. It's also about expanding your knowledge, broadening your horizons, and becoming a more well-rounded individual.
I love that. It's about embracing a growth mindset and viewing learning as an investment in your future self, both professionally and personally.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something that can be a bit of a stumbling block for job seekers resume gaps. Life happens, careers evolve, and sometimes there are gaps in our work history. How does RoleCatcher help navigate those potentially awkward conversations?
It's one of those things that everyone says not to worry about, but it's hard not to feel a little self-conscious when you've got a gap staring back at you from your resume. What's RoleCatcher's take on it?
They get it. They understand that resume gaps are becoming increasingly common, and they encourage their users to view them not as liabilities, but as potential assets.
Okay, I like where this is going. How do they turn a potential negative into a positive?
It's all about reframing those gaps and highlighting the valuable skills and experiences you gained during those times, even if they weren't in a traditional work setting.
So it's about changing the narrative and showcasing how those experiences have shaped you into a well-rounded and adaptable individual.
Precisely. And they provide practical guidance on how to address those gaps in your resume and cover letter, as well as how to discuss them confidently during interviews.
That's so helpful because, let's be honest, even a short gap can feel like an eternity when you're trying to explain it to a potential employer.
Absolutely. But RoleCatcher helps you reframe those gaps as opportunities for growth, reflection, and skill development.
I love that perspective. Now let's talk about a topic that can be both exciting and terrifying: career changes. More and more people are making career pivots these days, whether it's due to changing interests, industry shifts, or simply a desire for something new and challenging. How does RoleCatcher support those considering a career change?
They're all about empowering career transitions. They understand that it can be a daunting process, so they provide a roadmap and support system to guide their users through every step of the way.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this roadmap.
It all starts with self-reflection and exploration. They provide resources to help you identify your transferable skills, research new career paths, and determine if a career change is the right move for you.
So it's not just about jumping ship on a whim, it's about making informed and strategic decisions about your career.
Exactly. And once you've identified a new career path, they provide guidings on gaining relevant experience, tailoring your resume and cover letter, and networking with professionals in your desired field.
It's like they're holding your hand through the entire process, from exploring new possibilities to landing that dream job in a new field.
Precisely. And they don't shy away from the challenges of career changes. They address common concerns like taking a potential pay cut or starting at a lower level.
That's so important. It's about weighing the pros and cons and making informed decisions that align with your long-term career goals and aspirations.
Absolutely. And they provide resources and support to help you navigate those decisions, whether it's providing salary data for different industries and positions or offering tips for negotiating a fair compensation package.
It sounds like they're really committed to empowering their users to make the best choices for their careers, even if those choices involve taking a temporary step back or venturing into uncharted territory.
Exactly. They understand that career paths are not always linear, and sometimes taking a detour or a temporary step back can lead to greater long-term fulfillment and success.
Well said. Now let's talk about a topic that often trips people up in the job search process: following up after interviews. It's one of those things that can feel a bit awkward, like you're being too pushy, but it's also crucial for staying top of mind with potential employers. How does RoleCatcher strike that delicate balance?
They break down the art of the follow-up, making it less about being annoying and more about expressing your gratitude, reiterating your interest, and staying engaged in the hiring process.
Okay, I'm listening. What are some of their key tips for following up effectively?
First and foremost, they emphasize the importance of personalization. Don't just send a generic thank you note. Take the time to tailor your message to each interviewer and the specific topics you discussed during the conversation.
That's so important. It shows that you are paying attention and that you're genuinely interested in the role and the company. What else do they recommend?
They also provide guidance on the appropriate timing for follow-up communications, suggesting sending a thank you note within 24 hours of the interview and a follow-up email within a week or two, depending on the hiring timeline.
That makes sense. You don't want to be too pushy, but you also don't want to let too much time pass and risk being forgotten.
Exactly. And they offer templates and sample language to help you craft compelling and effective follow-up messages, whether it's a simple thank you note or a more detailed email expressing your continued interest and highlighting your qualifications.
So it's about striking that perfect balance between being assertive and respectful, expressing your enthusiasm without coming across as desperate.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's resources give you the tools and confidence to master that balance.
Well said. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's becoming increasingly important in today's job market: building a strong online presence.
Absolutely. In today's digital age, your online presence is often the first impression you make on potential employers. It's like your digital business card, showcasing your skills, experience, and personal brand.
It's true. I know I've Googled my fair share of candidates before interviews, but where do you even begin with building a strong online presence? It can feel overwhelming, especially if you're not particularly tech savvy.
That's where RoleCatcher's guidance can be incredibly helpful. They break down the process into manageable steps, starting with the basics of creating professional profiles on platforms like LinkedIn.
Right, because a poorly crafted LinkedIn profile can be more damaging than not having one at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher provides tips on optimizing your LinkedIn profile, including choosing a professional headshot, writing a compelling headline and summary, and highlighting your skills and experience in a way that's both informative and engaging.
So it's not just about listing your work history, it's about showcasing your unique value proposition and what you bring to the table.
Precisely. And they go beyond LinkedIn, providing guidance on creating a personal website or portfolio, engaging with industry communities online, and using social media strategically to build your professional brand.
It's about creating a cohesive online presence that reflects your professional identity and aspirations.
Exactly. And they emphasize the importance of authenticity and consistency. Your online presence should be a true reflection of who you are and what you stand for, both professionally and personally.
That's great advice. Now let's talk about something that can be a bit of a mystery for job seekers' salary ranges. How does RoleCatcher help their users understand what they're worth and negotiate fair and competitive salaries?
They believe in transparency and empowering their users with data. They provide access to a wealth of salary information, including industry benchmarks, company-specific salary ranges, and personalized salary estimates based on your experience, skills, and location.
That's incredibly helpful. It's so frustrating going into salary negotiations feeling like you're in the dark about what you should be earning.
Exactly. RoleCatcher takes the guesswork out of it, giving you the data you need to make informed decisions about your compensation.
So it's not just about providing generic salary data, it's about giving you the tools to understand your market value and advocate for yourself effectively.
Precisely. And they go beyond just providing numbers. They offer guidance on how to interpret salary data, how to negotiate a fair and competitive salary, and how to approach those conversations with confidence and clarity.
It sounds like they're really equipping their users with the knowledge and resources they need to navigate salary discussions successfully and ensure they're being compensated fairly for their skills and experience.
Absolutely. They understand that salary is a significant factor for most job seekers, and they're committed to providing the tools and support you need to make informed decisions about your compensation.
Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about informational interviews. I know they can be incredibly valuable for gaining insights into different industries and roles, but they can also feel a bit intimidating, especially if you're not sure how to approach them. How does RoleCatcher help demystify the process?
They make it much less intimidating by providing a clear framework and practical tips for conducting effective informational interviews.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of their key recommendations?
First and foremost, they emphasize the importance of approaching informational interviews with a genuine desire to learn and build relationships, not just ask for a job.
That makes sense. It's about building connections and gaining insights, not just treating it like a backdoor approach to a job application.
Exactly. And they provide guidance on identifying the right people to reach out to, crafting compelling outreach messages, preparing thoughtful questions, and following up effectively afterwards.
So it's about treating informational interviews with the same level of professionalism and preparation that you would a job interview, even though the stakes might not be as high.
Precisely. And they offer tips on navigating those conversations gracefully, building rapport with your interviewee, and making the most of the opportunity to learn and build your network.
That's incredibly helpful. It's amazing how a few simple tips and strategies can make the prospect of reaching out to strangers feel much less daunting.
Absolutely. And they also provide resources for those who are further along in their careers and might be on the receiving end of informational interview requests, offering guidance on how to be a valuable and supportive resource for others.
I love that. It's about fostering a culture of knowledge sharing and mentorship within the professional world. Now, as we wrap up our deep dive into RoleCatcher, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on one final aspect, their approach to the increasing prevalence of remote work. It's clear that remote work is here to stay, and more people are seeking remote job opportunities. How does RoleCatcher support this growing trend?
They're fully on board with the remote work revolution. They've adapted their platform and resources to cater to the unique needs of remote job seekers and employers.
That's fantastic. But how do they go beyond simply acknowledging the trend and provide tangible value to their users who are interested in remote work?
They offer a dedicated remote work hub that provides a wealth of resources for both remote job seekers and employers.
Okay, tell me more about this remote work hub. What kind of resources can users expect to find there?
They cover everything from finding and landing remote jobs to thriving in a remote work environment. For example, they offer tips on setting up a home office, managing your time effectively, and staying connected with your team when you're not physically in the same location.
So it's about addressing the practicalities of remote work as well as the potential challenges that come with it.
Exactly. They also provide guidance on negotiating remote work arrangements, managing expectations with your employer, and maintaining a healthy work-life balance when the lines between your personal and professional life can become blurred.
That's so important. Remote work can be incredibly freeing, but it also requires a different set of skills and strategies to be successful.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher equips their users with the knowledge and tools they need to thrive in this evolving world of work.
Now, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the increasing role of technology in the job search process. It's clear that RoleCatcher is leveraging technology in innovative ways to empower job seekers. But I'm also curious about their perspective on the potential downsides of this trend. For example, are we at risk of losing the human touch in the pursuit of automation and efficiency?
That's a valid concern, and is something that RoleCatcher is very mindful of. They believe that technology should complement, not replace, the human element in the job search process.
So, how do they ensure that technology is being used ethically and responsibly without losing sight of the importance of human connection?
They've built their platform with a human-centered approach, focusing on using technology to empower job seekers and create more meaningful connections between candidates and employers. For example, while their AI tools can help you optimize your resume and practice for interviews, they emphasize the importance of authenticity, personalization, and genuine human interaction throughout the job search process.
That's reassuring to hear, because at the end of the day, it's all about people connecting with people, finding fulfilling work, and building meaningful careers.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's mission is to empower those connections and make the job search process more human, even in a world that's becoming increasingly digital.
I love that. Now, as we approach the end of our deep dive into RoleCatcher, I'm curious to hear your overall impressions. What are some of the key takeaways that stood out to you?
What impressed me most is RoleCatcher's commitment to providing a holistic approach to career development. They're not just a job board. They're a comprehensive career platform that provides their users with the tools, resources, and support they need to succeed at every stage of their career journey.
That's a great point. It's like they're not just helping you find a job, they're helping you build a fulfilling and meaningful career.
Exactly. And they're constantly innovating and adapting to the evolving needs of the job market, ensuring that their platform remains relevant and valuable for years to come.
I'm curious, what are some of the key features or resources that you found particularly impressive or innovative?
I was particularly impressed with their AI-powered tools, like the CV analysis and interview practice features. They provide a level of personalization and data-driven feedback that's hard to find elsewhere. I was also impressed with their commitment to continuous learning and their resources for remote workers and career changers. They're really at the forefront of the evolving world of work.
I completely agree. Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you a question that's been on my mind throughout our conversation. With all the talk about AI, automation, and the changing nature of work, it's easy to feel a sense of anxiety or uncertainty about the future. What advice would you give to listeners who might be feeling apprehensive about the road ahead?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is to embrace a growth mindset and view change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for learning and growth. The job market is constantly evolving, and the skills that are in demand today might be obsolete tomorrow.
So, how do we stay ahead of the curve and ensure that we're prepared for whatever the future holds?
By embracing continuous learning, developing in-demand skills, building a strong professional network, and staying adaptable and open to new opportunities. It's also important to remember that while technology is transforming the world of work, it's our uniquely human skills, creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and problem solving that will continue to be invaluable in the years to come.
That's a powerful message. It's not about fearing the future. It's about embracing the possibilities and equipping ourselves with the skills and mindset to thrive in a world that's constantly evolving.
Exactly. And platforms like RoleCatcher provide the tools, resources, and support to help you navigate those changes with confidence and create a fulfilling and meaningful career no matter what the future holds.
It's reassuring to know that even with all the advancements in technology, those core human skills still matter. And speaking of those skills, I think it's time for us to put our critical thinking caps on and dive into the insightful takeaways from our deep dive into RoleCatcher.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground today exploring the ins and outs of this innovative career platform.
We have. We've talked about everything from leveraging AI for personalized feedback to the importance of building a strong online presence. But if we had to distill it down to the most essential takeaways, what would you say are the top 3 things listeners should remember about RoleCatcher?
That's a great question. I think the first takeaway is this. RoleCatcher is all about empowering you, the job seeker. They're putting you in the driver's seat of your career journey by providing the tools, resources, and support you need to navigate the complexities of the modern job market and achieve your full potential.
Absolutely. It's like they're saying, we're not just going to throw you into the deep end and hope for the best. We're going to give you a life vest, a compass, and a map to help you navigate those waters successfully.
Exactly. The second takeaway is this. RoleCatcher recognizes that the job search process is a marathon, not a sprint. They're with you every step of the way, from exploring different career paths to acing interviews, negotiating salaries, and continuously developing your skills.
It's like having a personal career coach in your corner, cheering you on and providing guidance every step of the way.
Precisely. And the third takeaway is this. RoleCatcher understands that the world of work is constantly evolving. They're at the forefront of those changes, constantly innovating and adapting their platform to reflect the latest trends and provide their users with the most up-to-date and relevant resources.
So it's not a static platform. It's a dynamic and evolving resource that grows and adapts alongside the job market and the needs of its users.
Exactly. And that's what makes RoleCatcher such a valuable tool for anyone who's serious about taking control of their career and navigating the future of work with confidence.
I couldn't agree more. Now, before we officially wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder. We've explored how RoleCatcher empowers individuals in the job search process, but it also highlights a larger shift in the employer-employee dynamic. With platforms like RoleCatcher making it easier than ever for individuals to showcase their skills, connect with opportunities, and manage their careers, how do you think this will impact the way companies attract and retain top talent in the years to come?
That's an excellent question, and I think it's one that companies are already grappling with. In a world where talent has more choices and greater leverage than ever before, companies will need to adapt their strategies to attract and retain top talent.
So it's not just about posting a job description and hoping for the best anymore.
Exactly. Companies will need to be more proactive, more transparent, and more focused on creating a compelling employee experience that goes beyond just a paycheck.
It's about showcasing their culture, their values, and their commitment to their employees' growth and development.
Precisely. It's about creating a workplace where people feel valued, supported, and inspired to do their best work.
That's a powerful message, and it's a reminder that even in a world that's increasingly driven by technology, human connection, purpose, and meaning still matter.
Absolutely. And platforms like RoleCatcher are helping to facilitate those connections and empower individuals to find fulfilling and meaningful work that aligns with their passions and values.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into RoleCatcher. A big thank you to our expert for sharing their insights and expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has provided you with valuable information and inspiration as you navigate your own career journeys. Remember, the power to shape your career is in your hands. Thanks for tuning in.